Recording in progress.
Good evening. Welcome to the Worcester School Committee meeting. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sing, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
roll call.
Member Clancy?
Here.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Here.
Member Kamara?
Here.
Member Mailman?
Here.
Member McCullough?
Here.
Member Novick?
Here.
And Mayor Petty.
Here. Okay, we have the consent agenda. And the motion is to approve. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes. So we have, hang on one second. Okay, recognitions. First one is the approval of the Worcester High School. We already did that one. I'm sorry. Member Clancy, we're going to hold that one. So roll call. We're going to hold the Bronco dance team. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Member Johnson? Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Member Mayor Petty.
Yes. Next is Member McCullough. We have the Worcester Tech student. We can return that to the administration for determining whether they want to come back or not, or to send a certificate to them. Okay, so roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes, we have public comment. Just your name, city of residence, and item number.
Michael Carden, Town of Holden. My name is Michael Carden, and I would like to discuss item GB3-149. Again, my name is Michael Carden, and I'm an assistant principal and athletic liaison at North High School. I'm requesting the opportunity to discuss item GB3-149 and work to collaborate with the school committee, Worcester Public Schools, and the city of Worcester to remodel the parcel of land in front of North High School. Plans to build a new North High School and a multi-purpose athletic facility fell short as budget cuts were imposed and sacrifices were made. The result was a state-of-the-art school building with an underwhelming rectangular grass eyesore, with an underutilized softball field welcoming all that visit the beautiful North High School. Since the development of the new North High School, our athletic programs have been able to hold their own despite the amenities they have when compared to rival high schools. Perhaps the most glaring difference in our amenities is the fact that our football team practices on a field that does not have field goal posts. There is no access to the restroom facilities for fans or athletes on the field. Our football team and soccer team share a partially and unfortunately occasionally lined field. To support our football team, we have been granted access to practice on the turf football field on Lake Ave 2 days a week, which recently increased from 1 day a week. However, our football team must travel 1.4 miles to Lake Ave to practice, which does not seem far until you factor in that our students do not have rides and must walk roughly 30 minutes carrying all of their gear to the field. Additionally, our coaches are unable to transport all of the necessary equipment to run a comprehensive and dynamic practice. Our baseball team practices at Holmes Field, which is 1 mile away, and plays their games at Lake Park, which is 1.5 miles away. Our home field for soccer, football, and track is Foley Stadium, which is 3.9 miles away. Until recently, bus transportation by Worcester Public Schools was not provided unless the game was after 4 p.m. More than half of the games in a soccer season are played at Foley Stadium and start at 3:30. As a result, student athletes need to find their own ride or navigate the WRTA. Fortunately, bus fares have been waived, but there is no guarantee that the WRTA will remain free for all upcoming seasons. If a student left today from North High School, they would need to walk from North High School to the corner of Harrington Way and Hamilton Street to catch the number 16 bus at 2:41. This bus would travel to the Central Hub. Once at the Central Hub, they need to board bus number 5 to Chandler Street and Coolidge Road stop to arrive at Foley Stadium. Travel time totaling roughly 59 minutes, and their arrival time being 10 minutes after the start of the game. Sports for many of our students are what keep them motivated, involved, and out of trouble. With a lack of amenities at our school and challenges getting to and from practices and games, participation has decreased and has become harder to field teams. Despite these challenges, our coaches and athletes continue to persevere and represent North High School. In the spirit of equity with our rival schools, please consider our request to address the remodeling of the parcel of land in front of North High School to support our future student athletes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go back. Nobody else with public comment? Okay, we are going to go back to Ms. McCullough. To recognize Worcester Tech student Cindy Mizzou. Okay. Who received the 2023 Outstanding Vocational Student Award from Worcester Technical High School. Cindy is one of 51 high school seniors from across Massachusetts to be recognized by the Massachusetts Association of Vocational Administrators. Congratulations, and Ms. McCullough.
Thank you. Through the chair, just wanted to make sure that we recognize you for receiving this exceptional award and what an honor it is. And thank you so much for representing Worcester Technical High School and the Worcester Public Schools in such an amazing way. And in order to be recognized by that organization, just what a wonderful accomplishment that is, and wishing you all the best as you go on into the next chapter.
Congratulations, and we have a certificate for you that recognizes Cindy, who received the 2023 Outstanding Vocational Student Award from Worcester Technical High School, and it's signed by myself, the superintendent, and the Worcester School Committee. Molly, do you want to give that? You can come in.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the award, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Okay, hello everyone, I'm Cindy. So about the award, we had a great ceremony, and this award was given to one student at a Worcester Technical High School. They picked the top vocational student, and there's different schools throughout Massachusetts that are technical schools, so they picked a student. We had about like 40 to 50 students. They were from across Massachusetts, from Cape Cod, Rhode Island, different areas, and it was a great experience. We were able to meet different people, meet with the mayor and stuff like that, and it was really cool.
Very good. Congratulations. Yeah, you can shake your, yeah. Congratulations again. Good job. Okay, so we're just going to We have a public petition to consider approval of the draft and sick days for educators at the Elm Park School. We'll send that to governance. Is there anybody here for that? Roll call.
Member Clancy? Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member O'Connor-Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty?
Yes. Okay, we have, we'll go with the member Kamara's items. First one is request the administration provide an update on the parcel of land issued to the Worcester Public Schools at the Roosevelt School location, past and present. And we also have a report from the administration, review the proposed solutions to address the traffic issues at both Burncoat Middle Schools and Roosevelt Elementary School, including preliminary design and cost estimates. Is there another one too? Nope. Okay, member Kamara?
Thank you. So the first item, and that is
Three
the
dash-
one you just talked about. Yes. I do want to share that I understand that we've had, meetings around this, and then there was a meeting that there was an article recently that was in the newspaper, the TNG, about that location. But we've been having communication about the parcel of land by Roosevelt, and we even had school committee, FNO, and meeting with City Council Education Subcommittee, where we've discussed such issues. It was also brought to my attention that the parcel of land currently has been a place that is hoarding, a dump site, and I did speak to the superintendent about that, and also Mr. Brian Allen about that. So they are aware, but I just wanted to understand, as a new school committee member, I wanted to really understand what is going on with that parcel of land with regards to our abilities to look and seek funding to repair or fix that area so that it will reduce traffic areas within that area. One thing that I really, that I also share with the superintendent and has been looking, because I live in that same area, there has been some disastrous accidents. Just within the last 2 weeks, there were 2 accidents on that street that was just nasty, right in front of the school, and the other was a little bit further on the Grafton Hill by that Burger King area. And I think that these things pose great harm to kids in our district, parents, and so I would really appreciate any suggestions, any feedback in terms of what we can do, and to gather support even from our state senators and legislators to help us with any kind of funding, and the city with any kind of funding that can be made possible to remedy this matter.
All right, thank you. So that's going to administration, right?
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, administration.
In your next one?
Yes.
I'm
So
sorry. Are we still on this one, Mr. Chair? Or are we just are we going to loop back if other people have comments on it? How do you want to handle this?
Oh, you have a comment? I
know.
I didn't see you. Go ahead, Member Nolan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I understand where the burn coat question came from, because that was part of the reaccreditation. They had some concerns about safety in terms of letting students off buses and more students coming out of cars. Honestly, it's usually not the buses that are the issue. The Roosevelt one didn't start here. There was never a school committee, we think that we need to do this. There was not an outside report that said we needed to do this. And in fact, we're talking about a parcel of land that's owned by the city. It's not owned by the school department. There hasn't been a transfer of this. The first thing that I learned about this was actually reading about it in the Telegram and Gazette, which is never a good sign when you're on the school committee. And I know that we've had issues from prior administrations in terms of offline conversations and people making agreements and people promising to do things and so forth. But I kind of want to, and I'm thinking of this in light of the public comment we just got too, which is that the priorities of what the Worcester Public Schools not only spends money on, but frankly also spends attention on, is something that is not really supposed to be exteriorly imposed on us. And, you know, I have grave concerns that I know that I've already mentioned on the floor here previously, which is that, you know, one of the dangers of a school district moving to a district representative system, which I've seen in other districts, is always this sort of like, you know, there's sort of representation for particular interests and maybe not for others. And I know that effectively, I know that what my colleague in fact is instead responding to actually is the fact that there's been sort of so much clamor coming particularly from the council. I don't want us to give into what effectively feels like a heckler's veto here. That there's so much noise coming from a particular area that somehow makes this the most important thing. And please note, I say this as a former Roosevelt Elementary parent who's extraordinarily familiar with the traffic heading out to Grafton Street and heading, by the way, to an entrance and exit to the Massachusetts Turnpike, which somehow never seems to become part of this. Somehow this is all just always about Roosevelt. So I guess I'm concerned about prioritization. I'm concerned about lines of authority. I'm concerned about kind of how we make decisions. Administration gave us a report. I don't really feel like we need to refer the report back to them. There was a response, a restrained response from the superintendent regarding this and Mr. Allen regarding this at the council on Tuesday in terms of, you know, we have a capital budget that's $3.5 million when it comes to buildings and grounds. Are tackling a project that's 4.3 or 3.2 out of that is, you know, a lot. But I'm also concerned because, and I think here of Member Kamara's advocacy that came through Finance and Operations in the Joint Committee of what's the work that's being done jointly with the City Transportation Department around things like the sidewalks on Sunderland Road. We know that that's part of the concern of families there. And that, I'm pretty sure, doesn't cost $3.2 million. So I don't know where to send this, Mr. Chair, because it feels like this needs, if we are having any of these conversations, they have to be taken in the larger context of all of the other needs that we have for the district. We can't isolate this as somehow the highest simply because it has a particular interest. We can send it to F&O, we can take it up with the capital items or with the ongoing work there. I want to make sure that we're not sort of acceding to kind of the loudest voices in the room. Thank you.
Member Mailman?
Just clarification, is this 3147 that we're discussing right now? It's not 147.
Yes.
Okay, so if so here's my sorry, now I gotta stand up again. Okay. So on 147, that land is not part of, the city owns that, not the Worcester Public School System. So I would say that we're not gonna deal with that land. If that land is also part of 3-142, so doesn't this then become a joint project of the city in school?
Administration? Superintendent Manoras?
Yes, through the chair. I would say that this is part of the broader conversation that we're starting to have. We just started it today. We've been having it, but now we're like putting some meat to the bones, I'm going to say, with the city about a full capital projects strategy, what is happening throughout the city,
what's the facilities impact on schools, what's the facilities impact on city expansion, all of that coming together. We do recognize that in 2 of our schools, most specifically, which is item 3-142, there is some higher level concerns around traffic. That's both Burncoat, Middle and High, and then Roosevelt. So we were talking today about some short-term, immediate meaning next school year, because I don't want to promise anything for this school year, but ways that we can address the immediate of these while then thinking about long-term. So it's just a bit more complex. And to Member Novik's statement, the not clarity around who actually owns this parcel of land for Roosevelt, because it's been this is what's been said, but then trying to find the paper trail of it is something different. So just figuring all that out together, I guess.
Okay, so these items are going to go to administration, both of them.
And we'll work it through the larger capital facilities project strategy that then we will be bringing forward to both the committee and then the city council. The city manager will bring it to the city council.
Thank you.
Anyone else? So we will send that to administration. All set? Roll call on that?
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member O'Connell-Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Okay. Member Kamara, GB 3-148, to request the administration provide an update on the school liaison officers' relational engagement in each quadrant and any updates on how this has impacted safety and security in the Worcester Public Schools.
Thank you so much to the chair. My statement reads as is, but I just want to share that one of the things that sparked my intuition to think about this item is one such that I think we've now have been, with this new model for several months, several months, not up to a year now. And one of the things that keeps coming to my mind as a school committee member is who are these officers and how is the model that was introduced to this district, what is the impact of that on the safety and well-being for our kids in the district? And I would love to make it a motion to see if we can either, congratulate these officers, because one of the goals within our district is to work with, different departments, and one of that being, the Worcester Police Department. So this is my item as it is, because I will like to get information from this item, but I would also like to make a motion to see if they can be brought into at another meeting. So we set a meeting for them to come in, or if there could be a picture, because I have not seen who these people are, and I think it'll be worthy to know who these officers are that are doing such great work in our quadrants and providing safety and security for our quadrants, our kids, and our families in the district. So thank you.
Okay, so we will first send it to administration for a report out on their engagement in the quadrant. Roll call. With the motion, so I'm trying to understand your motion. So you want to have a picture of the police officers who are dealing with the school liaison officers who are working with our students in the quadrant?
So as a way of building relationship, because they are building relationship within each quadrant. However, I don't know who these people are. I don't know if anyone knows who these people are, but I think it would be a worthy thing. The fact that we've transitioned from one model to another model, to even, thank them for their service. So it could be both, and I've talked with the administration about this already. It could be, inviting them and thanking them. I'm open for, whatever my other colleagues have in mind, but I would like to see these people and see the faces and, perhaps thank them. And I think ongoing, I would like for there to be an image of these people somewhere on our website, our district website or whatever, but there needs to be some kind of, like name or face or name so that we're all aware of who are these officers providing safety and security in our district.
Member Clancy?
Thank you. So if we're going to be moving forward with these two motions, I would like to take them separately in regards to their faces being put on our website. I understand the relationship building. Of course, I think it's a huge component, but I would be asking that we take these two motions separately for votes. I'm fine with the administration, get a report back from the administration, but I don't know that I want to have our SLOs, I'm not sure if they even want to have their pictures on our website and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Millman?
I wonder if Member Kamara would consider a friendly amendment to first get the report to see how we're doing, and then determine next steps. I would not be comfortable voting to bring people here for any purpose, really, until I saw what the report said for this first year.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm sorry, to the chair.
Go ahead. Member
Thank you so
Kamara.
much. Thank you so much to the chair. And I was putting these things out for my colleagues. So I appreciate the two feedback from Member Clancy and Member Novick. So it's not my goal to put anyone's image on our website, but so I agree with what my colleagues are saying with regards to getting a report and then going from there.
Okay. So we already took that vote on the report, so no other motion to vote on? I thought we took the vote on to send it to get a report back from administration. Oh, we didn't vote that yet? Oh, sorry. So we'll take a vote on that now.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty?
All right, in GB 3-149, to consider a conversation on the parcel of land in front of North High School for the recreational purposes of any updates on plans to remodel the space for school use. Member Kamara?
Thank you so much to the chair. I just want to say thank you to Michael, the assistant superintendent and athletic liaison from North High for that statement. I also want to thank the administration and for this opportunity as well. And I think one of the things as we think about land and all, whether if it's at Burnco or Roosevelt or North, I think for me is equity, right? When we start to think about talk about equity, I think we need to understand where there inequities before, and now that we're trying to address them. I think this new school committee over the past year, we've been really on the forefront to calling things out and adding voice to places that there needs to be voice. And I do want to say that we should not turn our eye away from that, because as a whole district, we've been addressing some of the inequitable issues and such. I think will be about the land. When you look at the north side schools, you look at East Middle, you look at the issue with North High, the land, the parcel of land, or the traffic issue at Roosevelt. I think these are worthy things that are that should be on the agenda for a school committee member, whether it is at large or district. So I just want to make that one comment. And as also the fact that I'm a new member, I'm also gaining information about what we can do with the parcel of land that we have here, and one of which being the one at North High. I did speak to the mayor about this because I was privy to some information with that with him and with with some hopefully some some information that could be useful for how we move forward with this parcel of land. I don't want to get into further details until some things are concrete. But I also want to share, that I share the same sentiment with Michael, and I've brought that up to to Mr. Brian Island with regards to, seeing students on the front of, the road on Hamilton Street in the cold winter months, waiting for a bus because there were no buses to support students. So I think as we're in the budget season and looking at all of these, issues in our district, I think it's good that we are out here talking about it and discussing and hopeful that there will be some remedy to these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. So it says to consider a conversation regarding the land, so where's that going? That wouldn't...
Yeah. The administration as well.
Miss. What?
I'm not...
There's no referral. Mr. Chair, do you want to send it to subcommittee?
We're sending this to F&O? Okay. So we're sending this to F&O. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Okay, so we're going to go back up to GB 3-150 to consider approval of the Worcester Public Schools fiscal 24 budget, fiscal year 24 budget.
Motion to hold?
Motion to hold. All those in favor? No, so ordered. Okay, so GB.
Mr. Chair, sorry, point of order. I believe Member Kamara is still here, so we probably need to still take that on a roll
Oh, we
call.
got to take it?
Sorry.
Okay, right. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman? Yes. Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
Mayor Petty.
Okay. GB 3-143 to review the current standing committees and make any changes if necessary in light of the upcoming structure changes to the Worcester School Committee after the 2023 election. Member McCullough?
As it reads.
So we would be sending this to governance, right? Member Novick?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I first of all, I appreciate the attention. I'm glad we're looking ahead. The one question, the one suggestion I would make as an amendment, if my colleague agrees, is I had also been thinking of this in light of the administration reorg, that the lines there are also different, and just if we can sort of take it all at the same time in terms of what is this all supposed to look like, that would be great. So I would offer that as an amendment, Mr. Chair.
So we're sending that to governance?
Can I?
Member Mailman?
Clarification, Member Novick? I don't understand what your item was.
So I would add to the motion to review standing committee, make any changes necessary in light of the upcoming structure change to the Worcester School Committee after the 2023 election and the administration reorganization. It's really not the right place to put it. In light of the administration reorganization and maybe that would be the better place to put it.
You all set with that, Howland? All right, roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
Mayor Petty.
3-145 to request the approval of removing the medical waiting room CNAs. Administration. Superintendent Honoris.
As Ms. Asalosa comes up to speak to this, so as the committee may remember, we continued with medical waiting rooms through this school year. In light of COVID, the medical waiting rooms are staffed through a contract, and we are recommending that the contract, that we start to taper off of the actual CNAs that we have, with the plan to not renew the contract for next school year. And just a reminder, this contract is funded through ESSER 3, I believe.
So back in the fall of 2020, schools were mandated to have designated medical waiting rooms where nurses were not required to stay with the child. That's why my understanding is that we hired CNAs for that purpose. In June of last year, that mandate was actually lifted, and the advisory from DESE was, and the state was that, it was advised that as an abundance of caution, let's keep it for one more year, but they were no longer mandated. And so we're making the proposal to phase them out and not have them for next year. Right now, the guidelines state that if a student is suspected of COVID, they simply need to wear a mask, or if they're under the age of mask or due to a disability, they're 6 feet apart from staff or students. So medical waiting rooms are no longer mandated.
Member Novick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think that maybe we may be basing this conversation on maybe a misunderstanding. So the CNAs were certainly brought in as part of, for the medical waiting rooms and for that. When we had the conversation last year around extending them, yes, it was certainly to some degree out of an abundance of caution, though it also was that, in my recollection, there was a feeling amongst the schools that having additional medical personnel in the building was actually a useful thing. And so when I asked for a report on it, what I was hoping to see was effectively some sort of a medical reflection, involving the doctor that we have a contract with, and involving the nursing staff, because I know that the CNAs, while again were brought in for a specific purpose, we're not really only doing that in the buildings, honestly, even during COVID, but certainly not in the last year. And while I'm happy to certainly save the money on a contract, particularly one that's one-time funds, one of the things we talked about coming out of 2021 was what have we learned and what do we want to keep? And I don't feel like we had a chance to have this conversation. And what I'm seeing here is a report that is really only predicated on the notion that the CNAs were doing COVID things. And my understanding from talking to schools is that isn't actually the case. So what I'd like, Mr. Chair, is I really would like to see some medical analysis of this. I'd like to see something from our doctor. I'd like to see something from our nursing staff of, were they working with the CNAs? Were there places where they were useful? Were there places where they think that's something where we don't actually need it anymore? That's fine. I'm happy to, I'm happy to agree with the administration if in fact we don't need it. I just don't feel that I've been given the evidence that that is actually the case. And in this case, that has much less, frankly, at this point to do with COVID and more to do with sort of our ongoing question of, are we actually meeting the medical needs that we know to be in our buildings on a daily basis? So if it's possible, Mr. Chair, particularly is because I know at least we'll be taking up this sort of the staffing questions, not the contractual. Well, no, we'll take up Esther next time. If it's possible for administration to come back with some of that medical evaluation for the next, with my colleagues' assent, I would really request that kind of evaluation if possible, please. Thank you.
Member Kamara?
Yes, thank you so much to the chair. I just want to also acknowledge my colleagues' statements for that, because that was something along the lines that I also had, because I was also aware that the CNAs, do a whole host of things at the schools and during COVID as well. And then just out of curiosity, probably can find that somewhere, but if the administration can just, if you have that information, that's fine. If you don't, I probably can find that in our budget book. But how much will we be saving if we were to, dispose of this or get rid of this item?
Through the chair, the contract is $2 million.
Okay, thank you.
So we looking to hold this?
Yes, please, Mr. Chair.
All right. So hold. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
GB 3-146, to request that the superintendent be granted the annual authorization to make the final year in transfers necessary to balance the surplus and deficit accounts for the fiscal year ending on June 30th, 2023. Administration.
Through the chair, my understanding, this is an annual request, and as it reads.
Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
Mayor Petty.
3-791, to request that the administration provide an update on the student Chromebooks across the district. Member Clancy?
Thank you, and through the chair to the administration, thank you for the backup. I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad to see that we have a plan to sustain our one-to-one district, and that's all I was looking for, so thank you.
So we could file this. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
Mayor Petty.
And GB 3-93.1, to consider adding AirPod usage to the policy handbook and utilizing administration, educators, and student feedback during the development of the policy. Member McCullough?
Thank you. And I do believe that it says the recommendation is to send to administration, but if it's going to be a policy, it should make its way to governance. So if, certainly we would want administration to work on this, but it should go back to governance for the policy part.
All right, so we'll send this to governance. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
Yes.
Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
And that is it. So we would adjourn. Roll call.
Member Clancy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson?
Yes.
Member Kamara?
I think she's gone.
Member Kamara?
She's not there.
Oh, she left. I couldn't see. Member Mailman?
Yes.
Member McCullough?
Yes.
Member Novick?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Thank you. Have a good night.